My name is Pandrea. I travel the world performing and creating magic. I've always been fascinated with the process of creating magic tricks ever since I started out. One of the most asked questions I get is, what is your creative process? I hear it all the time. Well, in this video I will try to break it down for you and create a magic trick from start. But first I need to invoke the expertise of a few friends. Lucky for me, I got a call last night that 2 of my friends will be in LA and asked me to come hang out. So I packed my bags and I'm going to meet them now. Alright, they arrive in about half an hour, so we're just gonna wait at the airport for them.
3 weeks later.
Hey! What's up? What's up? Welcome to sunny, well, not so sunny, California.
Yo, guys, it's Pandrea here. Nice
Oh, he did it. He did it. So we got Dan White and the man himself, John Stessel. And we are going to have some fun in LA and create a trick. Let's go. Yo guys, so we are in LA and we're joined by 2 of my friends, John Stessel and Dan White. We decided for this video to show you guys the creative process of coming up with an effect. We are going to break down the creative process, at least for us, in steps to make it easy for you guys to follow and sort of replicate. When you have an idea in mind and you want to create the effect, then you could go out and do it. We've reached the hotel and right away they are hard at work trying to create our next miracle. So let's see what we can come up with. Alright, so the effect in itself, this is the first I guess step that we think about when we want to create something. I want to do this.
Yeah.
Or I want to do this. What is the effect?
So the effect that the spectator would see is basically they would think of a card. You would have the cards on the table the entire time. You tell them to hold on to the card, and you'd say, you just thought of any card you could have thought of in the entire deck. We're gonna open up the deck. As you open up the deck, you spread the cards, and one card in that deck, the card that they thought of, is missing a corner from their card. And you say, after you thought of any card in this entire deck, this has been in here the entire time, one card missing this corner, but do you know where that corner is? And you have them turn over their hand, and underneath the watch is the corner. So just breaking it down even more simply, it's a thought of card corner under their watch. I love any sort of thought of card to wallet, thought of card under hand, thought of card in box, any sort of thought of card plot. And because I like that plot so much, I've played a lot with a lot of indexes. And I always feel like the weakest part of any index is having to go to your pocket to get the card. And pretty much every index is either going to a pocket or going someplace, or you're having to bring your hand somewhere out of sight for a second. For a long time I've been thinking about how to get rid of that hand going out of sight problem. And one thing that I thought sort of makes sense is if you have a deck of cards, you've got a box all the time, right? So the idea of putting an index into a box that's in view, that you're stealing the card from the box in plain sight, completely under their eyes, was an idea that was really interesting to me.
So this is our first test of what we think we're gonna do.
It's such a bad test, but it's kind of just like.
And sometimes you always need those bad tests, right? To figure out what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, as I get glue all over this nice table, but.
So we're trying to create an index, and we came up with the idea of, instead of having full cards, that we're gonna have corners of cards, right?
Yeah, well, the reason why we're going with corners is just, so right now the dream would be to be able to have any card named and only use the box as your index. So with this, at least if we're doing the corners of the cards, there's a lot more space to be able to fit as many options as possible. And I don't know if that's where we're gonna go with it, but it's just a really crappy prototype idea of what you could do.
And I think the reason why, I mean, this is important, just to the creative process, is the idea of starting with like this perfect goal that you want, but then figuring out ways to get to that goal by simplifying things and making compromises, you know.
Yeah.
And I think this is a compromise, but you know, generally it's still just as good from a spectator's point of view.
You want them to feel like I could have named any card and somehow he had that card.
Right.
Whether it be written, the corner, whether it be a full card or a picture, at the end of the day, if they believe that you knew without a doubt the thought of card, that's a winning effect in my eyes. So that's what we're playing with right now, and this is the crappy first prototype I'm making. It's really janky, but yeah.
We have to make this gimmick that we have in mind for this effect, and we need supplies, but we don't have any handy. So what do we have to do?
Well, we have to go find a place to find props that we can actually turn into a magic trick. So of course, we're gonna go to Office Depot.
Which is?
Right there!
Wait, what the heck? You're not in this part of the video, bro. We're gonna go to Office Depot, which is right here. Very convenient enough, and get some supplies.
Let's do it. I think this will work.
So what is it?
These are utility blades, so they ran out of X-Acto knives, so instead we're just getting razor blades, and we'll see if this works.
To make the gimmick box.
Yep, to make the gimmick box.
Bam. So at step 2 now. Step 2 is talking about the method and creating the sort of behind the scenes, what's going on for the trick to work. So we have boxes and got the X-Acto knife blades and cards, and what we're doing is we're trying to make the gimmick work so that, well, Stessel came up with this sort of concept, so
what we got with this original index that we were making was it would be 6 corners of cards. So at some point throughout the performance, you would then come under, find the corner that you wanted, and then steal it out like this. So now you have it in the fingertips. So basically what we're doing is we're trying to develop an index that you can secretly access a corner of a card for a bigger trick where we make that corner appear under someone's watch. That's kind of what we're working on right now.
So now that we have the first 2 steps done, we know what the effect is and what the basic method of it. In this case, the effect is a thought of card, or rather thought of index of a card in an impossible location, in this case underneath the watch, the spectator's watch. And then step number 2, the method is we know we want an index in a box so that you don't have to go to the pockets to steal anything out. You could have the box in full view, steal out the index, load it under the watch, and then show the missing corner in the deck. We need step 3, putting it all together with a handling and a presentation that makes sense. Now the equivocate is something that I won't go into in this video. I do have a video on equivocate or magician's choice where you narrow down their options to a certain card. You could do it to 1 card, you could do it to, in this case, we have 6 options for a card, but equivocate is basically giving them a free choice and narrowing down their options, so their options are actually limited when they feel that they have free options. So a very quick example of this is we have red cards and black cards. Name one. So if they say the reds, which in this case we need all the reds, perfect, we'll use the reds. If they say the blacks, you say, well, look, we're gonna eliminate everything down to 1 card, okay? So the blacks are gone, leaving the reds. And that's just a very, very small example of what equivocate or magician's choice is. So an update on the gimmick. How are we doing?
We're doing great. So I've done this with a brand new card box. This is the index that you see right here. So now each one of these are hearts, each one of these are diamonds. That's the equivocate that Alex has been talking to getting down to. And now what I'm ultimately going to be doing is adhering this other plate, and by plate I mean another back from a different card box, right here to the back in 2 separate spots. That way the index will be essentially invisible to the naked eye, and at any point if you knock the folded corner you'll be able to access your information on the side here.
So good.
So that's what I'm getting to right now. This is the whole concept that I've been building for the past, I don't know what, like 6 hours?
Yeah.
But now it's at least starting to feel like a real magic trick, so to speak, that hopefully Alex and I will be able to go out tonight. Alex, Dan, and I will be able to go out tonight and perform it. We'll see. Look at how clean that lines up. Like, you'd swear there's nothing there.
Yeah, and then in slow motion.
Slow motion, watch. I'll hold here. Knock right there. Access information. Like this corner. Then cover.
Boom.
My gross fingernails. Because I've been gluing. Don't judge me.
Love it. Okay, so the sun is coming down now, so it is time to go out and perform. Now, in this video, it was about the creative process of how do we get to this point to performing. From then on out, performing is the best way to get to that step 3. How are we gonna do it? What pad are we gonna use? What's good to do? What's not good to do? All of that is learned while performing. So now we're gonna take this effect, go out and perform it, and learn step 3 along the way. Enjoy the performance.
We're gonna use a deck of cards for this. Now, normally a magician has you pick a card. I'm not gonna try to do that this time. I'm gonna try to do it a little differently. So in the deck of cards, there are red cards and black cards. Which would you like to hold on to? Just say it, red or black? Red. Okay. Hold on to the red cards. In the red cards, there are high cards and low cards. Which would you like to take out? High cards. High cards. We'll take out the high cards. So that leaves the Jack, Queen, King in the red. So that's diamonds and hearts. Pick diamond or heart.
Diamonds.
Diamonds. Okay. So diamonds. So that means the Jack, Queen, and King. Out of those 3, which would you prefer?
Queen.
Queen. I'm gonna give you a chance. Would you like to change your mind, or are you happy? Honest.
Or keep it.
Keep it. I love that. Here, hold your hand up. Perfect. Just one. Just one. A little bit lower for me. Right here. Perfect. And just stay still. So you said the Queen of Diamonds?
Diamonds, yeah.
So what I'm gonna do is this. Imagine I take the Queen out of the deck. I rip the corner off, and I make that corner disappear in a moment of time. And then I take that ripped Queen and put it back in the deck. Now you picked a card out of your mind. I've never even opened these cards. You got to the Queen of Diamonds. That was fair, right?
Right.
I didn't do anything.
No.
Look, if we open this deck of cards here, we'll dump this out. This is where the crazy part begins. If you look, if we find the Queen of Diamonds,
Yeah.
it's a little weird because this is the only card
Stop
that has a
it.
corner rip in the entire deck of cards. The only card with a corner rip. But that's not the crazy part, because I told you I was going to make that corner disappear in a moment in time. A moment in time. Could you check your watch?
Shut up.
You're going to see a moment in time. One thing appears underneath your watch.
Oh my god.
Stop it.
No way it matches up to. How weird.
Wow. Unreal.
That's
Unreal.
awesome.
Crazy.
Wow. That's awesome. Awesome.
Magic!
Awesome.
Alright guys, there you have it. Thank you so much for watching. That was the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something about the creative process. I want to thank my buddies for coming out and hanging out. And last words about really creating magic, because they've done it more than anyone, I think. What would you say?
I think this whole experience proves that you can really do anything if you put your mind to it. Obviously, there's a lot more that we could have done, but for a day, I think we did pretty well.
Yeah, I think ultimately,
24 hours.
I think ultimately the idea is you break it down in steps and you just take it a step at a time. And honestly, write it down, think about it. Don't rush too hard, because we had a few gimmicks from the start that didn't work out.
5 of these things.
And then a few hours later, we came up with some good
But
stuff.
Can you imagine what we would do in another week?
So that's really the point of it, just to get you kick-started on this creative process, and hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you on the flip side.
Yeah!
Peace.